wonder who that could be. Hey, Jack.
Hey, Danny. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. You ready to start cooking?
Oh, yeah.
Let's go! Woo! Today, we're going to show you guys how to make 5 different dishes. For the appetizer, we'll make chicken parmesan sticks. For our main dish, we'll make a delicious cheese pizza with a side of breadsticks and a scrumptious tomato soup. And to finish, we will make a cheesecake that will knock your socks off.
Alright, the first step, let's wash our hands.
Get them a little wet first.
Get some soap. Nice and clean.
Good job, Jack.
Thanks, Danny. You're doing great, too.
I know hygiene's very important to you. The first thing you're going to want to do is gather your ingredients, as we've done here.
Alright, so we're going to add a 1/4 ounce of dry yeast, active yeast. And then we're going to add 1 teaspoon of sugar. There you go. And then 1 cup of water, and we're going to mix those all together.
And we have to wait for the yeast to bloom for 15 minutes. So while that's happening and Jack starts to stir it to help the yeast dissolve, we're going to start pureeing our tomatoes. We're going to start the process of making our tomato puree. And to start, we have to cut out the eye of the tomato. So now we're going to get a close-up of the cutting of the tomato. So I just got to cut out the eye real quick. And then on the other side, we're going to make a cross.
So you can easily peel the skin.
Done. Alright, so our water's boiling, so we're going to stick our tomatoes in the pot carefully, one by one. Safety is important in the kitchen. Alright, now that we've done that, I'm going to set a timer for 8 minutes. And while our tomatoes are boiling, we're going to get back to our yeast that has finally bloomed.
Good job, Danny. Alright, next we're going to add 1 cup of flour into our bloomed yeast.
Go and top that off, Jack.
Oh yeah, I'm topping it off alright.
Good job.
And next we're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. As so.
Be precise with the measurement. We don't want it to be off. Oh, that looks to be perfect to me.
Top it off. Good.
All
So
right.
next we're going to stir that up. And then after it's all stirred up, we're going to add another cup of flour. So after we stirred, this is what it looks like. And we're going to add 1 more cup.
Of bread flour.
Top it off.
Got to be precise with our measurements.
And then we shall stir again. Gotta make sure all the sides are clear, get all the dough mixed in. Look at that.
Looks nice and doughy, Jack.
Nice and doughy for sure.
So next we're going to flour the board so that the dough doesn't stick. And this is our kneading board. And now we're going to remove the dough from our bowl and place it onto the kneading board and mix in another cup of flour. Mix in last cup of flour. Go ahead and stretch it out a little bit, Jack. There you go. We're going to mix in this last cup of flour until the dough is soft and elastic. Go and mix that in.
Let's knead this together.
Knead it.
Spin it.
Nice and stretched out. All right, go and form it into a ball, Jack. Go and form it into a ball.
And then we form into a ball.
So next, in another bowl, I'm going to pour in 1 tablespoon of olive oil. The bowl, or the ball of dough with said oil. All right, go ahead and spread that around that ball, Jack. The ball of oil, yep.
See how it's slightly changing color? That's what the olive oil does to the dough.
All right, next we're gonna cover the ball of dough with a damp towel and let the dough rise for 40 minutes.
So next we're gonna take the ball of dough and put it into a bowl. We're gonna cover it by a damp towel that Danny's doing.
And we're gonna wait 40 minutes and let the dough rise.
And start the timer.
Thank you. So now that our tomatoes are done boiling, we're gonna pull them out of the water and into the strainer. Cut them into large chunks, like this. And this is to help them cool faster.
Next, we're just gonna put the tomatoes into a bowl so that we can puree them using this puree machine.
And once it looks pretty much done, Jack, go and place that bowl down there.
A bowl under the strainer.
And I'm gonna dump the puree through the strainer so that the seeds in the skin are left behind. And so now that our water's coming to a boil, go ahead and place the tomatoes once again inside the water. Now we're gonna puree the tomatoes again. Go and get all the good liquid stuff from this, from the puree.
So now that the
sauce is done simmering,
it's a darker, more thicker. We need to dump it into another bowl, like so.
And now that the paste is done, we can start making our sauce.
Yep.
So now we're going to begin the process of mincing the garlic by first peeling it. So now, before we mince it in our mincing wheel,
Ta-da.
I'm going to chop it into smaller pieces. Alrighty, get rid of this. Now we're going to place it inside the little pieces inside the wheel. Careful though, the garlic is a little slippery.
Then we
Go and
close
shut
it
that
up.
and just. We're going to be cutting up the basil into smaller pieces. Alright, now we're going to start making our sauce. We're going to add our ingredients. Half a cup of tomato puree. And currently our tablespoon is being used for something else, so we're going to use half a tablespoon 4 times on the tomato paste. Alright, Jack, go ahead and add 1 whole clove of garlic. So now to top our pizza, I'm going to make freshly sliced mozzarella cheese using a grater. Dough, we're going to go ahead and add the sauce. Have it on our pizza stone and we're ready to put it in the oven. Alright, now that our pizza is done, we go ahead and inspect it. It looks good. I'm going to take it out of the oven carefully. start our cheesecake off, the recipe calls for us to preheat the oven to 475.
Alright, to make the crust, we add 1/2 cup of the crushed up graham crackers. And then we add the melted butter and we stir. Now that we have lined the bottom of the spring foam pan with parchment paper, we must put in the crust. We need to. That we're done, we're gonna take a sheet of tinfoil and wrap the bottom of it, and we're gonna. Now that we're done making our crust, we're gonna take a sheet of tinfoil and we're gonna wrap the bottom of our spring foam pan, and we're gonna freeze it until the filling is ready.
And we need 4 8-ounce packages of cream cheese. Can't see, but it's a 1/2 cup of sour cream. After that, add a cup and a fourth of granulated sugar. And then add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. You've got all your ingredients in the bowl. Take it over to your electric mixer. Start mixing this bad boy together.
Now that our mixture is smooth and creamy, we are going to add 5 eggs, 5 large organic eggs, to the bowl.
So now that our filling is done,
Scrumptious.
we can go ahead and remove our crust from the freezer and start to pour the filling into the crust. And place your scrumptious and delicious to be cheesecake inside of the glass pan that you had prepared earlier very carefully. Alright, our 12-minute timer has gone up, so it's time to pull our cheesecake out of here. Alright, let's try this again. We're gonna take it out of the oven. Alright, after you pull the cheesecake out of the oven and it's cooled for a little bit on the wire cooling rack, you're gonna go ahead and cover it with tin foil. And place it inside the fridge.
Alright, now for our side dish, we are making the lovely breadsticks. Take 1 cup of lukewarm water and dump it in a bowl. 1.5 teaspoons of sugar. Active dry yeast, and dump it in. Mix everything together into the yeast. So we're gonna add the rest of the sugar.
Which roughly translates to about 10.5 teaspoons.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And we're gonna add make sure to level it out nice and smooth. Now we got 2.5 cups in there. Next, we have to add 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil. So let's watch this. Now we must beat it together with our henny-dinny whisk-a-doodle-doo.
Alright, so next we have to knead our dough. Before we can do that, we're going to have to flour our work surface.
Next we need a greaser pan with some extra virgin olive oil.
Once the ball of dough is greased, go ahead and get your towel nice and damp. Fold it over. Place it on top of your dough and set a timer for 40 minutes.
Now that our dough is done rising, and it looks amazingly beautiful, we need to go back to our wooden surface and make sure to flour it again.
Alright, using a knife, kind of divide the dough into smaller pieces.
Next, for our breadsticks, we must preheat the oven to 400.
Stick them in the oven and be careful because I don't want to burn myself again.
Now that our breadsticks have been cooked for like 10 to 12 minutes, they're nice and golden brown. Now we're gonna take it out.
Alrighty, so now that we've melted our butter, we're going to go ahead and mix together our melted butter and a ½ teaspoon of garlic salt. And this will be the mixture that we're going to spread on top of our, mix this together. It's a little bit hot. We're going to go ahead and get our pastry brush ready.
We're going to make our appetizer, which is chicken Parmesan sticks.
Our chicken tenders into a bowl.
So next we're going to get a ½ cup of flour.
Put them into a bowl.
Next we're going to chop our parsley up. Next we're going to grate our Parmesan cheese. Next we're going to add our 1 cup of panko breadcrumbs to the bowl. We're going to add 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese into the bowl, and we're just kind of mix those up by itself.
Alright, so now that we have all of our mixtures done, we're going to take each individual chicken tender and first place it in the flour. Get both sides evenly coated. Then next, we're going to place it in the egg batter until all of them have been touched. So all of it is covered in egg. Then after that, we're going to place it in the panko, parsley, and Parmesan mixture that we made earlier. Pressing it down so that the panko sticks. And once we're done, we're going to place it on our baking sheet. And then we're just going to repeat.
So now that we are done coating all of our chicken Parmesan, we are gonna put it in the oven for 400 degrees. We'll work our way over here.
Alright, so now that our chicken Parmesan sticks are done, ooh, that's hot, very hot. Ooh, they look good. Alright, go ahead and take this rack out of the oven. super salad, we decided to go with a tomato soup. And the ingredients that we're going to be using today can be seen here. And they include tomatoes, which were once on the vine but are now not, salt, sugar, garlic,
Cloves.
chicken broth,
An all-purpose
flour, and butter, and a white onion. All right, to start things off, we're going to go ahead and chop these tomatoes up to make about 4 cups. We got our measuring cup here.
We're gonna peel this garlic and get four whole cloves.
So the next thing that I'm going to do is slice this onion. To start things off, we got to peel it.
Now we're gonna slice the onion.
Alright, so now we got all of our ingredients. We're going to go dump them in. Got 4 cups of chopped tomatoes, sliced onion into the pot, cloves of garlic, whole, into the pot, and lastly, 2 cups of chicken broth. Into the stock pot you go. I'm ready to go ahead and turn that onto medium-high heat and let it sit.
Alright, now that we brought it to a boil, we're gonna let it simmer. Let it simmer
On medium-high heat.
medium-high heat for 20 minutos.
Now that our mixture is done simmering, we're going to remove it from the heat and carefully pour it into this bowl. I'll set the stock pot down.
Now we need 2 tablespoons of butter. So now we're gonna put this in our pot. And we're gonna bring it around town.
Alright, now that the butter is melted, we are going to add in 2 tablespoons of flour to make a roux.
1.
2. So now we're going to begin to make a roux. As you can see, it's starting to form here. And in a second, we're going to go ahead and whisk in some of this tomato mixture. Alright, so I'm going to begin to whisk in a little bit at first so that it doesn't get lumpy. A little bit. Let it sit there for a sec. Take in a little bit more. After I throw in a little bit more, I'm going to start to whisk it. There we go. Now, you go ahead and slowly pour in the rest. Alright. How's it taste?
Amazing.
Alright, so this is our finished meal. Right here with our appetizer, we got chicken parm tenders. For our soup, we chose a tomato soup. Very hard to make. Our side, breadsticks. Main dish, pizza. And finally, the dessert, our cheesecake. Now we're going to go ahead and serve it to our guests. Mason, here's your plate. Mrs. Thorson.
Oh, I can't say that.
Yep. Here's your plate. Alright, so everyone has gotten their food now. This is my lovely mother, Amy Thorson. My lovely friend, Mason Henry. And my lovely father, Jim Thorson. And so guys, what are your thoughts on the chicken parm tenders?
They're tender.
They're tender.
They're delicious.
Very good.
Ooh, very flavorful.
Thank you, Mason. Dad?
Excellent.
Excellent.
Very good.
Beautiful. Great adjective.
Exquisite.
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 Good flavor.
Alright, now try the pizza.
Is that granulated garlic in here?
That is granulated garlic. It was $9. Just for a taste, you know. Mason,
Mason's
thoughts on the
ham
pizza?
on
Very good.
Really?
Very
Is it
good.
actually good?
That's very good.
Oh my god, the beef is really good.
That's really good.
He's surprised. Of course, Mom using the fork and knife method on her pizza. Interesting. Okay. Go ahead and try that tomato soup.
Just seriously good.
That was my least favorite to make, honestly. Fun fact.
Can I have a spoon?
You know what? You guys could have a spoon. I am so sorry that Jack Smith did not set the tables properly.
How's the soup?
The soup is wonderful too.
Alright, what about the cheesecake?
He already has a spoon, Danny.
He already has a spoon. Then I'll go and take that spoon from you.
Tomato soup is very delicious.
Lots of flavor.
Lots of flavor.
That roux really makes it nice and
The roux. I'm glad you noticed that.
Oh my god, that is the best cheesecake I've ever had. I swear to god.
We made that.
Yeah!
What kind of sorcery is this?
What about...
Better than Cheesecake Factory.
You know what? That is a Cheesecake Factory cheesecake right there. We made that.
Better.
We're better than that.
Damn, is that
Look, Dad, what? This is gonna be shown at school. Man.
It's all
I
good.
said, dang, is that good?
Good. I'll blur it out. Mason, how do you like that ginormous man-sized piece of cheesecake there?
Delicious.
Delicious? Overall, a rating out of 10, Mom?
Well, how are the
Oh.
breadsticks?
Oh, the breadsticks.
Oh, the breadsticks, yeah.
There was a little hint of sugar, a little sweetness.
Is that good?
I like that. Oh yeah.
Mason?
I'm a bread gal. I'm a
Can
crust
I
gal.
get, oh, you're a crust gal too? Can I get a pro and con from the meal from each one of you? Something we could have done better in the near future when
You
we
could have done it quicker.
quicker? I think we could have too, but it's beside the fact.
I don't know. I think maybe a little more basil in the pizza.
Okay.
The bread is very good. It has a sweet flavor to it.
Oh, is there anything we could have done better for you today, Mason? You know what? Thank you.
It's light and fluffy.
It is light and fluffy.
What's your favorite dish or part of this meal?
The pizza.
Pizza?
Pizza's good.
Dad?
I'm
Pizza?
gonna try this.
Cheesecake?
Cheesecake is so good.
It is good. Isn't it?
Let's try the cheesecake.
Do you wanna make a plate, Jack?
I'd love to make a plate, Danny.
All right, high five.
Not cheese.
Soldier boy, tell me.
Baby, you know that I miss you. I wanna